Tory Lanez might be a dead man walking.
What has life been like in prison for the last couple of years?
Truthfully, I've done my best to keep my head above water, but mentally, I've gone through trauma that I sometimes even struggle with because I never imagined myself dealing with things that I would have to deal with. I've been stabbed 17 times. I almost lost my life.
Before we get into the intricacies of the lawsuit, I want to show you exactly why I said that before we get it going. You think prison is dangerous, but imagine this. You're locked up in a cell, no weapons, no way out. And the only people you're supposed to be protected from aren't other inmates. It's the guards. So how does a man end up beaten to death inside a locked prison cell by correctional officers? So here's the story of Michael Tyrie. He's 31 years old, and at the time, he's serving time at Salinas Valley State Prison. Now, here's what matters. He wasn't there for murder. He wasn't some high-profile violent criminal. He was in on drug-related charges, meaning eventually he was supposed to get out. Now, prison ain't easy. You got tension everywhere, inmates, guards, power dynamics, and for the most part, there's one unspoken rule. Yeah, inmates might clash with inmates, but guards are supposed to keep order. But sometimes that line gets blurred. So, on August 22nd, 2015, Michael Tyrie is inside his cell, locked in, controlled environment. Nothing unusual, just another day, until something changes. At some point, 3 correctional officers approach his cell, and once that door opens, everything shifts. Now pause right there, because when guards enter your cell, you don't have options. There's no walk away, there's no backup, it's just you and them. And what happens next doesn't happen fast. It isn't a quick scuffle. There isn't someone trying to restrain him. According to what investigators later uncovered, this turns into a beating, and not just a couple of hits. We're talking repeated blows, a sustained attack, the kind where it's not about control anymore, it's about damage. And at some point, Michael Tyrie stops moving. That's it. A man was locked in a secure cell under full supervision is now dead. Now, here's where things get confusing, because when something like this happens, you expect an immediate explanation, right? Fight broke out, self-defense, something. But this didn't line up clean because there were no other inmates involved. No chaotic riot, no outside interference, just 3 officers and 1 man. So now investigators step in. And this is where things start to unravel, because at first, it's not fully clear what happened inside that cell. But the injuries tell a story. And that story doesn't sound like restraint. It sounds like force. So now the question becomes, was this necessary? Or did something go way too far? And then boom. The investigation zeroes in on 3 specific officers, Luis Santoyo, Matthew Ferris, and Ruben Velasquez. Now, this is where everything changes, because once those names come up, this isn't just an incident anymore. This is a case, and not just any case, a murder case. Now think about that for a second. These aren't inmates being charged. These are correctional officers, people with authority, people trained for control, people who are supposed to prevent violence, not cause it. So now the case moves forward. And as more details come out, the picture gets worse, because prosecutors argue that this wasn't justified force. They say Tyrie was defenseless. They say this went beyond control and into something else entirely. Now, the defense tries to push back. They suggested things escalated quickly, that force was necessary. But there's a problem with that. When you got 3 trained officers and 1 unarmed inmate, and the outcome is death, it's hard to explain that away. And the jury sees that, because eventually all 3 officers are convicted. Let me say that again, all 3. This almost never happens in cases like this. 2 of them, Ferris and Velasquez, are literally convicted and serving second-degree murder. Santoyo is convicted of voluntary manslaughter. And just like that, they're not guards anymore. They're inmates. It's Saturday. It's free cash day, meaning hit that QR code or tap that link in the description. They said not 5, they're going to double it up and put 10 in your account as soon as you install the app on your phone and get to playing games. It's one of the only apps that you can play with gift cards, win some scratch, you feel what I'm saying, and level it up, bruh. Get started today with 10 in your account. They just said we going to increase it for you, Nash. At $5, bruh, nah. We going 10 on you. So, hey, play some games, make some scratch, gift cards, PayPal, Venmo, whatever you need. Free cash, QR code, or tap that link in the description. Let's get on with this Saturday content. If y'all like more content like that, let me know. We'll switch that over to the Reloaded channel and start giving y'all crazy stories like that with those type of illustrations, if you like it. If you don't, then shit. We'll put it over there on the Clips channel for those specifically who like stuff like that. We can do that on the daily. Just want to put that out there. Now to the Tory Lanez stuff, man. Holy smokes. He decided he was going to drop the lawsuit of the century. Roll it. Exclusive, baby. Tory Lanez, I'm suing, and won $1 million per stab wound. Tory Lanez is suing over a prison stabbing that put him in the hospital, and he's seeking a whopping $100 million in damages. The rapper just filed suit against the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, plus the warden and 50 correctional officers at California Correctional Institute, CCI, in Tehachapi, where he was stabbed. In documents obtained by TMZ, Tory says he was stabbed 16 times by a fellow inmate wielding a shank in May 2025 and suffered permanent scarring to his face and 2 collapsed lungs. Tory Lanez was attacked by Santino Casillo, and he says the prison screwed up by housing them together. He says Casillo has a violent history who should have never have been locked up near him due to his celebrity status, which he says makes him a target. In documents, Tory claims the warden, Danny Samuel, violated CDCR protocols by housing him with Casillo. Tory alleges prison staff were MIA during the stabbing, and he says it's not clear why their response was delayed. He claims the prison showed deliberate indifference to foreseeable violence and says prison guards failed him to adequately protect him. What's more, Tory claims that while he was recovering in the hospital, his original songbooks containing unpublished lyrics were seized. As were notes with his attorney. Tory says the lyrics have substantial commercial value. Tory is suing for $100 million in damages, including $1 million per stab wound and $10 million for facial scar. He also wants his original songbooks return. We reached out to CDRC. So far, no word back. Tory, you shot a woman in the foot, and that ain't no allegedly. So that would make you a violent offender as well. Now, granted, his story is insane. It has to deal with an underage woman. It has to deal with guns. It has to deal with him killing her and a whole slew of shit. We covered that in the video that we did on him. Let me know if y'all want that original video. We'll link it in the comment section instead of how we normally do things around here. But Casillo, he actually has a whole entire different version of this story, if you care to believe it or not. Roll it. It may seem that TMZ may be in lieu of being in bed with certain people because this right here is very different, right? And I'm going to show y'all where exactly it's different. When we get to the bottom, it says, according to Casillo, the prisoner who supposedly attacked Lanez, the former heard rumors that he would be attacked, and prior to the stabbing, saw Tory Lanez armed. Casillo stated that he did not intend to kill the latter. The victim of the stabbing has been relocated to California's Men Colony Prison. The rapper known as Tory Lanez is serving a 10-year prison sentence for the 2020 shooting of rapper Meg Thee Stallion. The post, Tory Lanez sues California prison system for $100 million over stabbing, appeared first on Where Is the Buzz? Breaking news, entertainment, exclusive interviews, and more. Now, forgive me for being so naive and so dumb. I'm not a prison dude. I'm a street dude. I stayed out in the streets. I ain't stayed in prison like a majority of y'all. So here's the thing. You're under the care of the California Department of Corrections, the CDC. You are. You are entitled to serve out your debt to society that society has deemed you responsible for, while society has written checks, paid taxes for people who are to protect you while you repay your debt to society. True story. But here's the interesting part. We don't know what happened. There are multiple stories of disrespect from Tory Lanez. There's multiple stories of how it actually went, how it came to that, because there were supposed to be ramifications behind that type of stuff happening, but Tory Lanez went renegade on this one. According to prisoners who are there. Do I believe it? I don't have a choice. But I find this very dangerous for Tory Lanez. I believe he shot Megan Thee Stallion. I don't believe he shot Megan Thee Stallion on purpose. I believe he was trying to intimidate her because the night wasn't going right and some more things might have happened. If y'all disagree like y'all normally do, it is what it is. You're never going to get me to get off of my side. And it's funny because he's in prison for that. So, haha. But at the same time, that ain't karma either. See, what y'all perceive as karma, which I don't believe in, would have something happen to Tory Lanez's foot. Maybe gangrene, maybe amputated from trying to kick something like a metal can or something. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Something that has to happen that basically does with a foot. Him being stabbed, it happens in prison a bunch of times. We hear a crazy amount of stories. But the whole thing about him having his own thing, first I'm hearing of it, not saying that it didn't come out before. I just ain't heard of this shit my damn self. But Tory is in trouble because technically he's right. If they ignored the protocol that they have, there has to be a level of, I don't want to say penance, but it has to be a level of retribution. It has to be a level of discipline. There has to be action taken for these guys to basically pay attention to their prisoners. It's going to ultimately help as far as Tory Lanez things go, but it's also going to hurt. Because who's to say that, hey, something don't malfunction and something opens up and all this crap and Tory Lanez meets his demise? Or maybe Tory Lanez is too intelligent and can use this as a bargaining chip to get put in a lower level prison where he'll have an ability to basically come home early, ergo a fire camp or something like that, where you serve 33% of your time according to Almighty Suspect. But he just put a target on his back. Now they're going to treat him with kid gloves and all this stuff and everything up until, but I don't know. I see a little revenge, man. Just like the story we said before. It just, to me, this is scary. This is dangerous times. But y'all, let me know y'all thoughts on this one. Are you in agreement with me? Like, Tory Lanez, you could end up dead in prison behind this shit. Or are y'all like, man, listen, he deserved what he got. It just is what the hell it is. I am a Tory Lanez fan, and he deserves to get basically whatever happens to him in prison because buckle up, inmate. Y'all can say that, and I can understand that. But me, maybe I'm a little too soft these days. But click right here to see this Lil Wayne video, how, I hate to say it, he did it to himself. Or click right here for the playlist, and the videos will flow wherever you go. Enjoy your Saturday. We got another one dropping for y'all in a couple hours. I'll catch y'all in the next one.